What is everybody? Welcome back to the Idaho4 1125 Ridge Road, all new 2-minute clips. Some of them are even less. Good morning. Well, at some point, you're going to have an opinion about the video. Thumbs it up or thumbs it down. Use the comment section below the video. If you watched it on replay, use the live chat option if you're watching it live. Also, they give you the option when you're typing up your comment after you watch the video or while you're watching the video on replay, that little like timestamp battery thing looking when you're typing. If you hit that wherever you're at in the video, it'll timestamp. So when your comment comes through to me, wherever you're at in the video, whatever you're commenting about, I can then in the comment section hit that little time in blue that pops up, and I'll know exactly where you're at in the video that you're making the comment, which helps me understand what you're commenting on, especially with the longer videos. So it's a cool feature if you're commenting. Now, just a couple minutes ago, I received, 12 minutes ago, but I just received it probably 3 minutes ago. And I want to read a comment on my comment of a video or a post, whatever it was that I made. It was in reference to the fact that I said, oh, snap, I think that Idaho State Police didn't realize that the Moscow Police Department had interviewed our night shift worker who came home to pet her cats. Okay. And I had re-uploaded an old video that I made when we went and got the body-worn cameras. It's under the video section, not under my live tabs, but it's under the video section. When I uploaded, I believe it's under the video section. Anyways, I'll show a little bit of that. But this person writes this comment, and I just have to share this with you guys. How do you know what happened in this case? ? You've known for 3 years, maybe longer. You said a girl was involved. You mentioned staging, shower. You've known what happened all this time, and I believe you know who did the crime. How is this justice for anyone? How keeping secrets, because this pockets for all involved aren't filled yet. Those pockets for all involved aren't filled yet. She, I don't know, wrote it wrong. For 5 years, first of all, it has not been 5 years. Okay. For 5 years, it's a big free-for-all to cash in and the strongest survive, ? What about those that don't? Who's responsible? ? Our genetics? ? I noticed your change early on and shrugged it off. Was warned on Reddit about you, but my downfall has been thinking people are like me. I'm terminal. I'm dying. Go ahead and say we all are, but have those. Well, I appreciate the compliment that I know what happened because I did such a great job investigating this case. I do appreciate that. I have no idea who committed these horrible 4 acts of homicide. If I did, I would definitely be disclosing that to the police. But would it even matter if I disclose it to the police because they wouldn't do anything about it anyways? But I have no idea what you're talking about as far as shower goes. I've never once ever Oh, sorry. I was muted. Now I'm not muted anymore. We're good. We should be good now. Okay. So, anyways, there was that comment, and this person thinks that I know who killed 4 students or people, and then I'm just sitting here making money, not telling anybody about that. So, but this person's dying, and their dying wish is for me to tell them who committed the 4 homicides. I mean, I think I'm trying to weed out what happened. That's the best I can do. I'm trying to go as fast as I can. If Hitler would have put out those documents like immediately, or if they were just all filed not under seal, do you know where we would be right now? Think about that. The only people that are keeping the truth covered for as long as they possibly can is Idaho. So, anyways, I thought, I'm sorry, I had to laugh. I had to laugh at, you've known for 3 years, maybe longer. How do you know? You've known. You know it all. Yep, and that's why I'm going to write a book, motherfuckers. Make sure you buy that shit. You've known what happened all this time, and I believe you know who did the crime. How is this justice for anyone? By God. All right. So take a look at this. This is 11/13, so November 13th at 12:30 and I don't know, some seconds. All right, so this is this is one of the clips. And tell me this isn't like way more clear. Like this is color. This is at allegedly 12:30 and like I said, 25 seconds. It's ticking, ticking, ticking. And a car's going to come up on our left. So I'm going to try to pause it here. These little clips were sought for, and I believe that the person that actually went and got them was Trans Lucy. Is this the one that doesn't have anything? 12:31, nothing. Awesome. Fabulous. There is a couple of those. Hold on one second. Downloads. Let's go to this one. All right, here's this. Now look at this shit. Look at this. What is this? This one video is in the window and you can see all of this stuff because the light is on in the room. Okay? I can't make this shit up. The reason this is like this is because the light is on in this room. And so this is the 11:55. See if we have something going on maybe to the left. Let's see. But you could see somebody's bookshelf, like it's reflecting off the window. What was that? What the hell is this shit? What is this clip? Okay, there's more. It's not a screen recording. Now watch this. I think, let me see if this is the one. Okay, this is just right when it turned to 12:30. One. Right there. So look over here to your left, right. Oh, what the fuck? Right there. You see that? We'll slow it down. And then I was like, well, look at this. See, their license plate lights up. Anyways, so then we get to, let's see. Let's try this one. 12:56. It should just pop up. Right there. This person's bedroom light is on because how the camera is it sits on the window ledge, okay? And so when the light is on in this room, this is what it looks like. This isn't like a screen recording or anything like that. This is it's right down on the ledge. And you could actually, if you go back in the day and you watch my videos and we like zoom in to see where the cameras are on this building, it's right in the window. Okay, this isn't some like outside awesome three, circular fisheye shit. This is shit that's just like this. And you can actually hear people talking. But there's that vehicle. And I was trying to see if this one had the that one doesn't have the lights that are around the license plate. So so we have all these little clips, right? This woo, yay. And hold on, there's one at 2. You need to hear these people talking. But I was wondering who went out and got the video. And I believe it's our girl Translucent. Transluce, get your ass loose up in this motherfucker. Wake your asses up. What's today? Wednesday? Let's go take a look at Translucent's channel. Translucent. Translucent. There we go. Transluce. Okay. Now, She's a wild one, man. Like, okay, here we go. If you go to videos, and let's see, she did one 7 days ago. She did one a month ago. Let's actually see what this 7-day one is. Oh, wow. let's just take a peek at our girls' channel, okay? I get an email, and I was laughing. They're like, "Oh, your niece Translucent. She was the one that went and got those clips." I started dying laughing. My niece. Shit. It was funny shit, man. Okay, so if you go over here to Translucy, get your ass loose. All right. She makes these amazing videos. Okay. Jules, enemy or friend? What is this? Okay. What is this?
A YouTuber called Jules decided to pay Moscow's extortionate public records fees using her audience donations. And it didn't pay off. From the 12 hours she received, none of it had any evidence-worthy content. As she received portions of it, she would post them as they came onto her YouTube channel. They started off getting high views, but as the segments continued to be posted, less and less of her own audience were watching. The YouTuber not only posted them as standalone videos, but also reposted them as live segments. She obviously paid a lot of money on those boring videos, and she wanted desperately to be rewarded with a viral YouTube phenomenon. That never occurred. She became more desperate and then attempted to gain popularity by offering her footage to any other creator. Channels that profit solely from repackaging others' work seized the footage and recycled it on their own platforms. Hour after hour, they strung their audiences along with empty promises, offering no evidence and reaching no meaningful conclusions about the case. However, 1 hour of footage remained unreleased, the very hour that we at Translucent formally requested in July of this year. Based on our analysis, it was the most critical segment. This footage was expected to capture audio of Maddie and Bethany walking the dog outside, potentially including speech that could serve as vital clues in the case. It also had the potential to corroborate the loud screams previously heard in the Linda Lane footage. As the primary sponsor of the footage, Jules grew increasingly desperate. The 11 hours she had already released, funded by her audience's donations, had proven largely meaningless, and she was eager for a viral breakthrough. She hoped to replicate the Molly McMichael moment that we at Translucent had sparked, one that sent shockwaves through the community. Everything now hinged on the
What is this, Translucy?
Final unreleased hour of footage. Then last Friday, just 1 minute before 5 p.m., Jules finally received the footage. The 1.6 gigabytes of camera data that was supposed to reveal the truth had arrived. As it downloaded, she eagerly told her audience that the truth was about to come out and that their donations would finally pay off. But when the video was played, there was nothing, only silence. Moscow City had deceived everyone. The entire segment had been muted. Before she released the useless footage, we reached out to Jules directly. We asked her to hold off on posting the video until Monday so we could confirm whether the audio had been intentionally muted. We at Translucent had also submitted a public records request for the same footage and needed to determine whether her copy was an error or a deliberate omission. Jules ignored our email and posted the video anyway. She also granted permission for other channels to repost it. We then contacted our friends Birdie and Outcast and asked them to wait until Monday as well. Birdie agreed. Outcast did not. He posted the segment on Saturday night and later replayed the entire hour-long clip during a live stream. Both uploads garnered thousands of views. To be frank, Outcast annoyed us. We asked a favor.
To be frank, Outcast annoyed us? Oh, God, what is going on?
And he ignored it. Anyone familiar with YouTube understands that the best way to generate views is by presenting fresh content. Even if we were to receive a corrected version with audio the following week, its value would already be diminished. The footage had been played repeatedly, and we doubted it would have the same impact when we were finally able to air the meaningful hour. Monday arrived, and Jules was back on the phone, shouting at the staff in Moscow City. They claimed the footage.
Shouting at the staff. She's motherfucking the staff, god damn it.
Footage contained no audio, a statement that was clearly false. When we at Translucent received our copy, the file size was noticeably larger than the other segments, indicating it had been manipulated. Frustrated, Jules lost her temper and took out her anger on us, treating us like a punching bag. Just like any bully, her aggression
Treating us like a punching.
escalated, and she became extremely hostile towards us. What do we mean by that? She took the email we sent on Friday and deliberately twisted its meaning, portraying it as an attempt by us to act greedily, something that was never our intention. She also published.
Okay. This is Tina with What the Fuck Transition Services. What the fuck is going on, Translucent? Okay. All right. AEW footage was manipulated for Colbert trial. New proof. Is this from?
As Brian walked free, he spotted Translucent amongst the small cluster of journalists. A smile of recognition crossed his face. But the job wasn't finished yet.
Yes,
We were heading back into the courtroom, ready to question the very people who had tried to end his existence.
Mr. Imel, you served as the prosecution's vehicular expert in this case, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you recall this press release stating that 22,000 Hyundai Elantras were identified as being of interest?
ma'am.
Did you determine facts such as the population of Moscow
Yes,
as
ma'am.
part of your investigation? Do you recall what that number was? You were
25,000.
responsible for reviewing surveillance footage from both commercial and private locations, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Would it be fair to say that you reviewed hundreds of hours of footage
Yes,
from that
ma'am.
night?
And so the questioning continued. The prosecution's expert would, reluctantly and under the looming threat of losing his qualified immunity, begin to concede. Gradually, he started to admit that the timeline from Pullman to Moscow simply didn't hold up. He had no choice but to acknowledge that even our boy Pav had now debunked the only remaining route into Moscow, the very route monitored by Floyd's dispensary store.
Let's
State versus Ashley Jennings attention. What is this? What is this?
wait a minute. The house will be in order. The house will be in order.
As the days passed, the judge fought to keep order amid mounting public anger. FBI agent Tony Emil would now be questioned over the Moscow footage.
He prefers Anthony.
Mr. Imel, this footage comes from one of the two cameras used by the prosecution that came from the A&W gas station restaurant, correct? And the footage we are seeing now provided the clearest view of the white Elantra, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Viewing this A&W footage alone, the Elantra shown would not be sufficient to establish probable cause, correct?
Yes,
But if
ma'am.
Brian Koberger owned a bright green Lamborghini and you saw a bright green Lamborghini in this A&W footage, that could be considered.
But this clip right here, it proves that it can't be the same car on Ridge Road because the timing's off.
Standalone evidence, correct?
Right.
But because he drove a very common car rather than a unique vehicle, in this small town, you would need to confirm this footage with other evidence, like a timeline from other cameras, correct?
Yes.
Thank you. So let's do that, shall we? The first thing we'd need to do is note the timestamp of the car passing here, right? Here's the problem. We've looked carefully, zoomed into every corner, and yet there's no timestamp. Strange, isn't it? And this is the very evidence the prosecution intended to show the jury to persuade them to send Mr. Koberger to the final chapter of his life.
This is like the Sally Port. We're in the Sally Port.
Your Honor, I am now prepared to present evidence 425A. Mr. Imel, Translucent got this through a public records request with the city of Moscow. It's the same footage, just uncropped. So now you can see the time. All right, we're going to open your report, which shows how much each camera is ahead of.
This is what I did. Translucent, you better fucking give me credit for all this work I did. Shit.
Or behind the correct time. You have a paper, pen, and calculator.
I get 3:29:29.
Not only did Miss Jennings crop the video to hide the time, Mr. Imel, but your own two reports show conflicting times, conflicting to each other and to our footage. Evidence that suggests the prosecution was manipulating facts to push Mr. Koberger toward a death sentence. Wouldn't you agree that amounts to attempted murder?
Objection, Your Honor. Unsubstantiated.
Your Honor, I agree with counsel, and I'm prepared to present the proof now. Mr. Imel, yesterday we demonstrated that the proposed timeline from Pullman to Moscow is simply unreliable. The phone data shows Mr. Koberger traveling west toward the nature reserve, not toward Moscow. And the video evidence that would have been introduced at trial shows a vehicle with fog lamps, equipment Mr. Koberger's vehicle does not have. So instead of relying on a flawed narrative, I propose we reconstruct the timeline correctly, starting at the endpoint 1112 King Road and working backward through the available camera footage all the way to the A&W gas station. Mr. Imel, let's cut to the chase. Ridge Road cameras show timestamps of 3:29:02 and 3:29:04, yet in-cropped video just now obtained through Translucent's record request reveal that this other vehicle does not arrive at the A&W gas station until 30 seconds later. Based on the time...
Boom. This is all my work, motherfucker. This is literally all my work. Translucent.
Timestamps. The vehicle at the A&W and the vehicle at 1112 King Road cannot be the same vehicle. So which is false, the camera data or your account? And if the timeline cannot be true, wouldn't that discrepancy raise the question of whether your actions could be interpreted as assisting in attempted murder of Brian Kohberger? No further questions, Your Honor.
Yeah, that's exactly how they were going to debunk that. Like, it's not the same car. It's not the same car. And there's a big problem. Okay, Translucy. Well, I could only imagine what you think about the broken plea exposed what Christopher Whitcomb really reveals. New Ridge Road FOIA. Are these cars simply the undercovers? This is now.
Hey guys, super quick one.
This is where these little clips came from. The reason that I came to the channel to begin with today. Now, me and Translucent have an off again, on again relationship. And I was willing to pay for her FOIA the other day, as I think I told you guys. And until she proceeded to tell me that she pretended to be Bethany Mortonson, Dylan Mortonson's sister. A FOIA request. I said, have you lost your motherfucking mind, girl? I am not paying for that shit. Yeah, we just wanted to bypass the long wait for the Idaho. If you don't live in Idaho, it's like 28 days. They get back to you. I said, yeah. I said, okay, well, yeah. I said, God love you, girl. She's like, don't mind the name on there. I'm looking at the name and it says Mortensen. I'm like, what the fuck? I was like, y'all pretended to be Dylan Mortenson's family? Y'all lost your minds. My credit card is not going to be, my debit card is going to be tied to this shit. Are you insane? Like, the fuck's wrong with you people? So, but yeah, we have an on again, off again relationship. And I just really wanted to help get her the FOIA because this is like a community, like, hey, we're all trying here. Because I really also want that FOIA request. It's the football coach's interview. And yeah. So I would say we're right now, we're probably trying to work back to being on again. But we're really going to have to work on our morals and our values over here, okay?
Remember when Officer Tesdall and Officer Rosie said they were doing the same loops around the victim's house that the state claims Kohberger was doing? Well, we think we spotted their undercover cop car way earlier, like around 12:30 a.m. And it literally matches the same car the state later says is Kohberger's.
Okay, do you see this video? This is in that room with the lights on. Okay, nobody's getting busy yet. See that? Look at that. Look at these motherfuckers. Look at these lion sack of shits. Look at this. Look, this is the 401 and 34-second one. I think it's all shit. And this is the 31-second and 12:31 and 22 seconds. Watch this. Four 1:42 verse 12:31 21 seconds. Look at this shit. 3:29 and 6 seconds, right? Versus the 12:56 and 03 seconds. They were following their own car around. That means, guys, That means I am putting 2 of these vehicles together that night. You want to know how we can do this? Because at certain times I have them. Remember back in the day when I requested every single time that they radioed over. So I have a new FOIA now that I'm creating. Because we went and got the Fed stuff for the grants. We're going to have every contact that they made that they were supposed to report on. But we're about to just get all the radio that day, because there were 2 undercover cars that day. Not 1, 2. And I'm about to prove it. I think I found a way to prove it. Look at this shit. So
Quick
again,
one.
Me and Translucent, on again, off again relationship. All right. She tried to be, Dylan Mortensen's sister. Tried to get me to pay for the FOIA request with that name attached. And, she didn't tell me that she did that either. I look over the documents. I pay attention. Okay. I just wanted to give her the $100 and some. Here, you finish it out. No, here, I'll just give you all my stuff and you can have my passcode and all this stuff. I was like, I don't want any of that. I'm just going to send you the money. Or tell me the number and I'll call in and purchase it. But I'm going to be saying it's somebody else's order that they can't afford and I want to buy it. And then I looked at the report and I'm like, oh my God. Oh, don't mind the fact that we're Dylan Mortensen's sister, but don't mind the fact that we are acting like Dylan Mortensen's sister, who I believe is a very dangerous human being. I mean,
Remember,
me I'm having beers with. Dylan Mortensen, I mean, I'm going to keep you at a baby arm's length.
remember when Officer Tesdall and Officer Rosie said they were doing the same loops around the victim's house that the state claims Koberger was doing? Well, we think we spotted their undercover cop car way earlier, like around 12:30 a.m., and it literally matches
And I'm telling you, that came from the book.
the same car the state later says is Koberger's.
Look at this shit. You show this shit to a jury? You show me this in a courtroom? This is exactly what Alan Jackson did. He put stuff side by side, and you would admit this as an exhibit like this, and this is what you would be showing the jurors. And you cannot sit here and tell me that you're not looking at this and seeing that, oh my God, the 32907 car looks exactly like the car that was driving at 12:56 and 13 seconds. Hear that whistle? So then I started thinking more about this. And I'm like, who would ever set up cameras like this in their house? Okay. Who would ever do this? What is this truly protecting? It's not. Like, this is literally these cameras that they were putting in this window. It was like for the purpose of to not like prevent somebody from coming in your house. It was to literally get footage of the cars. And so I think it's absolutely relevant on who lives in this apartment and why they ever set up their cameras like this. Yeah, about that shit. So, wanted to show you guys that. Next. Thank you so much, Translucent. Thank you for not giving me credit. It's okay. Give the credit to Dylan Mortensen's sister. Let's go to oh shit balls. Hold on. That was not the one I wanted to do. It's okay. I give her credit that she put it all together. The videos. I'm perfectly fine. Someone take my work and make the videos, and we'll tag team a short channel. That's all I need to make all my stuff into shorts. Not like short, like just like 3-minute videos. I'm a one, you know what I mean? Like it takes a lot of time. So going over here.
Everybody knows she wasn't there. She came down for the.
Okay, here we go. These are the clips that Trans Lucy wants us to.
And there is a statistical probability in almost every aspect of crime scene investigation. That's why we have all these studies and why we have all these various research groups. The statistical probability of somebody of a quadruple homicide in a building that where there was no sexual assault, because there's no motive of sexual assault. The statistical probability of a murder by a stranger is quite low, 10 to 13%. Out of 100 murders, 90 of the victims knew their assailant. But
90%. You guys know I love numbers. What is that, Mark B? Mark B, another person. Can't say enough amazing things about just him as a human being. And then what he brings to this community. Mark B, take a motherfucking bow, baby.
in the last interview, the last interview with Bethany, this was after Brian Koberger had been charged. This was after he was arrested, right? They go back and interview her, and the police ask Bethany why Dylan won't respond to them trying to get a hold of her. I'll say it only for this reason. My life has been violent. I've lived in wars, and the part of my life that you don't know was I've seen everything, and I've seen everything committed by kids and women, men, old, young, different colors, different places in the world. Women can do the same thing men do, and maybe more vicious. Another thing that's a big thing too. Kaylee came down. Everybody knows she wasn't there. She came down for the weekend, and she was, by all accounts, including Dylan's date for the formal. They went to the formal for a very, very short period of time and left separately.
Because Dylan was getting kicked out. They wanted to vote her out of the sorority.
My only point when it comes down to Dylan is I'm sorry for the trauma, that everybody suffered in this thing. But why did police not ask information that became part of the narrative? Something happened at the Corner Club. We know little bits about it. I know more about it. I have not seen a report anywhere that anybody's divulged what Maddie said to Adam. I have strong ideas about what it would be because I know other things that you don't, but I do not know.
Then why don't you just say it? That's what, like, now is the time. Like,
there is a suspect, there is a person of interest who became a suspect in this that has never surfaced. And there was a woman who met a guy on a social media, like a dating site, and got to know this guy. And I have everything, screenshots of all the communications, photos of him playing golf, all this stuff. And you can't comprehend what a bad guy this is. Okay, a lot of things about the spare room. One, there was a bracelet.
So what she's doing is she's cutting up all these things. And if I stopped at each point to say, okay, this is like a new part of it, these are all cut up. Who's the person that plays golf?
Found on the ground, on the floor. So the question is, where was Dylan? Where were Dylan and Bethany that night? Right in their room. Supposedly walked down, went to bed, fell asleep, and never left the room, even to go to the bathroom. The bathroom that had no toilet paper, no toothpaste, no makeup, no towels, no nothing. Completely barren, whether or not it was sterilized. Right. But that brings us to the empty room. What happened for 8 hours downstairs that night? And this is not going to the veracity of what they told us. It is the spare bedroom. Police found a broken woman's bracelet in the middle of the floor, picked it up, and they placed it on the counter. When it's placed on the counter, that is stained with blood. And I found an evidence report that said that a bracelet was found, but not where or which bracelet. But that bracelet's important. How did a broken woman's bracelet get in the middle of that floor? I would want to know that. Golf clubs.
And it have blood on it. The craziness.
A source of speculation for many people. A lot of people think somebody used a golf club in the commission of these crimes. Nobody found out. There's no inventory of the clubs. I've got pictures, but you can't really count and see if it's missing a 9-iron or something like that. The third thing is, I'm not going to go, I go into detail a little bit in the book.
I already did all that. The golf clubs are the same small broken down set, meaning like a woman basically was playing out of that bag, in my opinion. And I think that was actually Xana's set when they would go and play. It's a beginner. It's a beginner where you're only rolling with so many clubs, you know.
But property was taken from the bedroom and given back as personal property, and it was seized by Ann Taylor's office long after the fact. And the evidence in the stuff that was in that box is pretty sketchy. That room is important, and I think moving forward as we generate different discussions, there'll be an awful lot of talk you hear about that spare bedroom. Kaylee Goncalves
I haven't heard shit.
suffered wounds that were different in character and severity than anybody else in that house. And she was directly adjacent to Maddie Mogan. She was choked to the point of petechia, asphyxiated. I'm not saying choked, she was asphyxiated, which is a two-hand struggle. She was, well, it implies a restriction of blood vessels and bursting of blood vessels. So there was a stricture issue, which is hands-on. Then she was suffered severe blunt force trauma. Then she was killed with edged weapons. Nobody else suffered the extent, the severity, or the character of the wounds she suffered. The records show that there was a lot going on in that house. I'll say
The records show that there was a lot going on in that house.
that right now. Was there another case?
What type of records? Like, what do you mean records? Were they playing a record player? What type of records are we talking about? Are we talking about the internet? Are we talking about the router? Are we talking about what type of? Are we talking about people's phones?
Camera that you don't know about? Yes, on in that house. I'll say that right now. Was there another camera that you don't know about? Yes. Certainly anybody.
What? Was there another camera that you don't know about? Yes. What the fuck? You guys, I don't have time to watch all the interviews. I have no idea what this is even from. I have no idea whose interview this is with.
That was involved in a cleanup, or certainly anybody that was involved in taking things to and from the scene, or helping him or helping anybody else would have been accessory after the fact. In a case like this, I think accessory after the fact would have also been charged with murder. Careful about this. Let's look at the mechanism of the crime. Sexual assault was not the motive. Burglary, robbery was not the motive. The manifestation of injuries behaviorally and forensically suggest rage and overkill, that the wounds far exceeded what it would have taken to kill them, right? And you have to look discreetly at Kaylee and Maddie because those wounds, that whole scene was very different than Ethan and Xana. They're not in the same conversation. So the question is, why there? And you take rage motivated by emotion and you compile that with a place where somebody motivated by emotion would find that person. They're not going to do it in the street in the middle.
You know what I got to laugh about, you guys? And I have no problem saying it. If you read Bethany's interview and you actually have the transcripts and you listen to it and it's not muted or anything like that and chopped up and redacted, and you do the same with Dylan's. Okay, these are supposedly FBI people. Okay, then I find out, his thing, he was not a homicide. He was not part of the homicide anything with the FBI. But anybody with the type of background they say that they have, you're not moving a muscle an inch from Bethany or Dylan until you get to the bottom and you square up your interviewing with them and what the evidence shows on their phones, on this, on that. I mean, for these people not to sit here and scratch their heads, and it's 2022 at the time, now it's 2026. Bethany and Dylan are just able to like pull over, like, like take you guys for a joyride. Nobody leaves Bethany or Dylan with what they had. You can't square those interviews. They're not squareable.
The afternoon. She was assaulted. Her head was assaulted with blunt force trauma so significant that it created significant fractures to bone structures in her face and in her skull, right? And the police, I think I've read the police, but I've read reports that said they stated that they exceeded what one could inflict with their knuckles. She was not punched to create those injuries. She was hit with an object. And then she was cut and stabbed. And based on the autopsy photos, and I've spent way too much time looking at those analyses, it would be very easy to argue, and it would be very hard to convince somebody that was done with one weapon. There were circular wounds, there were cutting wounds, there were different signature wounds.
Circular wounds. Dylan is the only person that's talking about a cylinder object. Think about that. Dylan said cylinder.
In a lot of them. So what I'm saying is Kaylee suffered 3 significant forms of trauma. None of the other victims did. None of them. And I talk about that vacant bedroom in the first floor. It's a big deal. That bedroom's a big deal. And we have not talked about it.
Yeah.
But I talk about it in the book. So that's really, I mean, that's a compelling question. And the answer.
I talk to Chris probably at least once a week. So I have no idea what you're talking about. I want them to just come out and say they don't have to hide behind anything. You don't have to hide behind anything. There's nothing to hide behind. Put out the material. Where are all these files? This isn't about competition. This is about getting to the truth. And the truth comes from the material. I'm sorry, but you can't have people just saying stuff without receipts. I don't accept that. My channel is Truth and Transparency. I bring the receipts. So if you're going to say something, back it up. So now it's time to back it up. Release the material.
The answer is no. The answer is no report that I've ever seen shows that they examined. Nobody even counted the gloves in the bag.
Okay, so I have a few questions. I really hope Lana sees this before her live on Sunday night and maybe includes some of them. First off, back in early...
But remember, it's Lana. Thank you, Translators, for making a video for me. But I think I know my interview tested Chris Whitcomb to the fullest. I said I wouldn't interview somebody until I read his book. So I read all of his book. And then I have the material that I have. You can't possibly interview somebody if you don't know the material. And then I actually know the case material. So then it was when you mix the two, when he wants to say something, I know whatever it is to come back to say, because of this is what the documents say to date. This is where this information can be found. This is where, you can see this, blah, blah, blah. And every time I was asking for what'd you see? Where is this? The 59,000 vials. Okay, great.
2023, right after Brian Koberger was arrested, Steve Gonsalves, through his attorney Shannon Gray, filed for a motion for a protective order to avoid being directly questioned by the legal teams in the case. So I'm kind of curious, does Chris have any insight into why they would do that? Like, was there something in the investigation files that might have triggered that move? Chris mentioned the Nissan Sentra in his interviews, but is he aware of the Idaho State Police interviews with the football coach that supposedly place him at the scene that night through geofence data?
Geofence data does not put the coach at the scene that night. The geofence data is that the coach is not on the geofence, just like how Brian Colbert isn't on. And the coach should be actually on the geofence data because he says he has his phone on all the time and yada, yada, yada. His wife's phone was on. And then the coach, his phone was turned off or out of the service area. You know, one of all the many things that you could say about Brian Colbert, okay? For that not to advance any further, that this guy tells you in his interview that he always has his phone on. His parents can get a hold of him whenever, that's coaching, whatever. My phone's on like 24/7. Wow. During that time frame of the murders, his phone should be on the tower where services his house because he says he's at home. Now, me personally, I believe that there's just a cheating incident going on. Okay. And I wasn't going to go down the path of to ruin, a family, a marriage. I'm not in that. That's not what this is about for me. Okay. But do I think that the police had a duty to look into that? Absolutely. And then they asked for his DNA. At first, he didn't really want to give it, and I don't blame him. I wouldn't either. We have that right. Go get a warrant. That's just my opinion. I don't trust you people. But they never tested it. I mean, they got it, and then it got put. They just collected it. They were just gathering stuff, you guys. But I think his phone was really relevant, and there was a connection here. He used the sorority girls to babysit his kids. Kaylee was one of those people. There's a nexus there. So I'm waiting to see Ann Taylor's discovery requests 1 through 25, read them all in order, and to see where she was going with things and to see what she was seeking out and when she was seeking them out. That's going to tell you how she was processing the investigation and where she was thinking to herself, they should have this. So where is it? And then based on her request, did they then go out and interview somebody, kind of like the Karen Reed case, where Karen Reed was asking for things and then Proctor didn't do those things. So then he goes and interviews, people after the fact. I think there's going to be a lot of that in this case as well.
I'm kind of wondering if Moscow police deliberately overlooked that. Chris said that 90% of cases happen when the victim actually knows the person. So looking back at the investigation, did anyone check into Dylan's dad, who low-key has a history of anger issues?
Oh, trans Lucy. Oh, trans Lucy. Now, I can only imagine what she said about, so here, let's talk about some golf clubs.
I believe we were able to demonstrate that the pattern it produces matches Ethan. We purchased Ethan's golf club, the Ping G400. First, we experimented with lipstick, and then we switched to paint. We believe we were able to demonstrate that the pattern it produces matches the latent print found in Zana's room. I'm not a fan of the label Pro Burger. The focus should be on finding the truth for the Idaho4.
All right.
We purchased Ethan's golf club, the Ping G400. First, we experimented with lipstick, and then we switched to paint. We believe we were able to demonstrate that the pattern it produces matches the latent print found in Zana's room. I'm not a fan of the label Pro Burger. The focus should be on finding the truth for the Idaho4, not framing it as taking sides. If Ethan's golf club were involved,
Totally agree with that.
that could raise questions about the timeline. The reported severity of the injuries suggests a highly emotional crime.
Thanks for watching. You're so welcome, Translucy. Okay, so then after that, there was like two. Here we go. Ethan's glove.
We noticed a detail that could change everything. Photographs taken by law enforcement after the crimes show Ethan's golf clubs stored in the first floor closet.
Okay, so the first thing I'll tell you guys, just because a golf cover has the G400 over it, you cannot say that that is, in fact, the G400, especially if this is a makeshift bag, okay? Meaning you're not taking a complete set and you're making it so that here's Anna, you just need to have like a 7-iron, a 9-iron, a pitching wedge, a driver, a 3-wood, a putter. So what we were looking for is we were looking for pictures. I asked you guys, hey, if anybody has a picture of the golf clubs, we're talking before the murders. We're talking if anybody sees Ethan and Xana playing golf on the golf course, if they can take a screenshot of it and send it. And so this is actually a really clear shot. I believe if we look at the Jeep Wrangler, go in the back, in the way back, and see if there is another set of golf clubs back there. I don't ever recommend keeping golf clubs in a Jeep Wrangler. At least Ethan's Jeep had a hard top. Okay, I had a set of clubs get taken out of my soft top, but I had my top taken off, and they were just chilling in the back. And I was grabbing lunch, and somebody fucking took my whole fucking bag. And I literally parked in the only blind spot of a place that had 15 fucking cameras. You got to be kidding me, right? This was way back in the day. This had to be in 2000 and like before 2005. Take that back. 2008.
Notably, his Ping G400 driver is visible in the bag with its protective head cover still on. Wouldn't it be incredibly unlikely that Brian Kohberger went downstairs, grabbed a golf club, used it, cleaned it, and then returned it to the bag on the first?
What makes more sense to me is that Dylan Mortensen and Bethany armed themselves with golf clubs like they've done so many times in the past, right? And went upstairs with golf clubs to, search, be nosy or explore, as the detective asks.
Floor? He wouldn't have known whether other residents were in rooms he never entered, which would make that an extreme and unnecessary risk.
There is something unusual in Xana's room. Photographs of the floor document blood evidence.
See, that to me is that circular object right there, to the left there. Cylinder.
However, the blue ink photographs reveal additional patterns not visible in the blood images. This suggests the floor may have been cleaned, after which additional blood from the victims was deposited onto the cleaned surface.
I totally agree.
In one of the blue ink photographs, you can faintly make out the outline of a golf club, specifically Ethan's Ping G400. Given that the golf club head is rounded, producing such a clear pattern would require someone to lean on the club.
See, the strongest argument for me with this is the bottom. Like over down to the right where that indentation is like that. But you would want to see if actually it had the golf did it have the cover on it?
Steadily, allowing it to slowly pivot and create the observed shape. This points
too skinny for me. I have to like actually see the width of that. But the bottom part, that to me could look like where the shaft would be coming up. Like, so it indents at the bottom.
to the possibility that Ethan's golf club was used, then cleaned, and returned downstairs into the bag. An implication that raises significant questions regarding Bethany's and Dylan's accounts.
Okay. See right here? See where it says 8.5 on the club? It's right where the screw is, because you can manually change these type of clubs to make it have more or less loft. And so where it says 8.5, if you're actually like turn it, and so your shaft is going to be on the right side of, she actually should show it upside down. I could probably do that. And I'll post some pictures because it's going to be flipped.
And that raises significant.
And the way that it would lay too, it's never going to lay flat like that. A golf club, when you lay a wood down like this, even if you like put it down like the ground, you have to like, for it to be able to hit all the surfaces like that, it's not like a stamp where I'm just taking it down and all the parts are then hitting. A golf club, you're not hitting the top and the bottom at the same time because the middle portion here where it says ping, that is sticking out. Okay, so you'd have to like teeter it to be able to like get that type of, so that's why I don't believe that it is the club. Unless you put the club cover on and you went up there with the club cover on for some reason because you didn't take the club cover off. But the way that the shape.
Questions regarding Bethany's and Dylan's accounts.
But there are also some other things that are there that aren't any major blaring red flags, but as they build point after point, they become concerning. One of the things is this: parents who show guilty knowledge of what happened to the child will often find a subtle way of insulting the child, insulting the victim.
Yeah, Kaylee was like our adopted. We took her out of country.
Maddie.
Maddie.
Kaylee was our child.
Oh my God, translucent. Oh my God. That is not a subtle way of putting out Kaylee. He was talking about Maddie. Like Maddie was like our adopted daughter. Okay, we took her on trips, blah, blah. This is simply Steve having a couple cocktails, as he should, while he's at Crime Con. Okay, and talking to, what's his name? Kaylee is our daughter.
She was kind of adopted.
She was kind of adopted.
Maddie was,
Maddie.
Yeah. So
he's making a joke out of being probably a little bit embarrassed. You know what I mean?
It's.
And then you're also mixing it in with the fact that you're talking about this and it's sad and
It's crazy how things happen. We don't know why it happened in Moscow, Idaho, why it happened to our daughter,
We call it the angelic view. The child is elevated beyond any normal child. Everything is wonderful. And we hear the subtle disparagement in guilty parents.
She was kind of adopted.
What that is, in guilty statements, within human nature, there is some drive to justify what happened.
The whole comment of kind of adopted is it's like, because I mean, is she more like Steve? Is she more like Christy? When growing up, it's like, where'd you come from, girl? That type of a comment when parents say that. That's what I see there. But hey, translucent, whatever with that. That's a horrible clip to try to compare that to, in my opinion. But let's see. I don't know what to call this. Okay. News contamination spreader.
The other samples show it's Kaylee with Maddie in an unknown. So, I mean, it's process of deduction. It's pretty simple to figure out. But I don't think there's any question that Kaylee was attacked right here based on the real forensic evidence in the case.
This is a short rebuttal to Pav's latest series. He goes deep into the forensic evidence and makes numerous claims about the victim's locations inside the house. As far as I'm concerned, the forensic evidence is null and void. The way Officer Nunes moved through the house after entering Maddie's room,
the way that, he just does not have gloves on right there,
raises concerns about potential contamination. It would be worth requesting earlier dash cam footage through FOIA to better understand his movements that day. Did he use the same ATM machine that Brian used?
Look at they're just touching everything.
Which happens to be close to Moscow's police station. Did he use the same ATM machine that Brian used?
Look at this. Look at Snyder touching, they're touching all the banisters, everything.
Potential contamination. It would be worth requesting earlier dash cam footage through FOIA to better understand his movements that day. Did he use the same ATM machine that Brian used, which happens to be close to Moscow's police station?
The other samples show it's Kaylee with Maddie in an unknown. So, I mean, it's process of deduction. It's pretty simple.
Okay, take a look at this picture. You can see, I want you to take a look at the, look at this house was just so lit up. The beer pong table right there. And it's exactly how Bethany says that it should be pushed up more towards like the bar cart, and it's actually pushed the other way. And I mean, look, this is before that they made the other redactions. Look at that puddle of blood. Like, get out of here, man. Ugh. God. Unbelievable. Unbelievable that you're hearing crying and then you see your roommate lying in that. Oh my God. Oh my God. Like, what juror is going to believe that? And then you mix it with the fact that Dylan is not drunk, but she's pretending to be drunk. When the jury hears that, it's curtains. It's curtains. So, I mean, Aunt Taylor, I have no idea if you just don't have confidence in yourself. I truly do not understand how this does not go to trial. If your client wanted to do an Alford plea, you're trying to save his life, but you maintain that you believe in his innocence and he claims that he's innocent, and yet go ahead and tell him to plead guilty to 4 counts. Because I'll say right now, there's no way that I think Diane Menashe is telling Brian Kober to take a plea deal. Look at this shit. Absolute shit.
Claims about the victim's locations inside the house. As far as I'm concerned, the forensic evidence is null and void. The way Officer Nunes moved through the house after entering Maddie's room raises concerns about potential contamination. It would be worth requesting earlier dash cam footage.
You know what? I think it's important to show how much room.
Claims about the victim's locations inside the house. As far as I'm concerned, the forensic evidence is null and void. The way,
like, you can't see what you're touching when you're like looking around, like you don't see these smudge marks of blood.
Officer Nunes moved through the house after entering Maddie's room raises concerns about potential contamination. It would be worth requesting earlier dash cam footage through FOIA to better
look at that. hugs the fucking railing. I mean, hugs this motherfucker.
Understand his movements that day. Did he use the same ATM machine that Brian used, which happens to be close to Moscow's police station?
What? Brian used the
Requesting earlier dash cam footage through FOIA to better understand his movements that day. Did he use the same ATM machine that Brian used, which happens to be close to Moscow's police station?
The other samples show it's
moved through the.
Who's is this? So this would be Smith. So this is, oh no, I'm sorry, this is Warner. Warner's body. This is the view of Warner's body cam.
House after entering Maddie's room raises concerns about potential contamination.
Okay. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Just when you go back through this shit, I'm fucking believable. I don't even know what to call this.
We were examining the Google geofence warrant.
Okay, good.
In which investigators requested Google to identify users who had their location data active at the crime scene around the time of the incident. Interestingly, the warrant returned only 2 individuals.
Okay, look at this. Look at this. I believe that actually the warrant, one of these puts it right on the camera of Linda Lane. So I think this one's a little high. This one over here to the right.
Excluded crime scene around the time of the incident. Interestingly, the warrant returned only 2 individuals, excluding the victims and survivors. This document is now
where does it say excluding the victims and the survivors? It does not say that in those documents. Why are you adding that in there? Because AI did it. That's why. So you always have to check AI. Okay. And because this is not translucent, isn't this voice, these pictures that you see when she wants to put a person on there, that's not her. This is all AI. Okay. Now what I want to show you is these are the only 2 that they claim is, it says right here, and in correlation with the cell towers, blah, blah, these were anonymous identifiers were found. It's like they didn't know who they belonged to. Those are the ones of interest. So, including subscriber information, Nick Valens with the federal government assisted in the production of service to get these warrants. Okay, on November 20th, Special Agent Valens received notice the data requested pursuant to the warrant was available. Okay, so you got to put all this in a timeline where it's like, what did they know and when did they know it? And if you're only interviewing Molly, right? Well, who's number 2? And is number 2, and the FBI, I believe, is the only person that interviewed number 2. And I think that was one of the Sigma Chi people that were driving that night. That's what my gut is going with right now.
Fully unredacted pursuant to a recent order by Judge Hippler. However, when it was originally submitted by law enforcement, identifying information about the individuals was omitted. At that time, Dollinger, now the chief of police, was responsible for reviewing and editing reports before submission to the prosecution. As a result, it can be inferred that he decided how much identifying information was included in the document before it was provided to prosecutors. The only information that allows us to identify one of the 2 individuals is this cell phone number. When searched in public records, that number belongs to the DoorDash driver, Molly McMichael.
That makes sense, given
Did she move to Georgia?
that we know she went to the backsliding doors and took a photo of the food at
the backsliding. Listen to her.
That makes sense, given that we know she went to the backsliding doors and took a photo of the food at 3:59 a.m. The food was
is that an AI glitch? The back sliding doors and took a photo, not the front.
reportedly intended for Xana, but we'll come back to that in a moment. This is where things take an unexpected turn. Searches connected to Molly show several phone numbers registered to her over the years. Brad Slater could mean. What are the odds that a phone previously used by Steve's neighbor would later be used by the DoorDash driver? Given that Molly...
Oh my God. Oh my God, what are you doing? What are you doing? Girl.
They used the name Delilah while working as a confidential informant for the Whitman County Sheriff's Department out of Colfax, and that we saw from our FOIA that Whitman County deputies allowed her to avoid charges after rugs were found in her car during a canine search. It raises an important question. Is it possible that this cell phone was actually a work phone? In other words, could it have been a phone previously used by other individuals involved in the same rug organization? It's a bit complex, but I'll try to explain. Molly
got a new phone. Okay, so this is the other. This phone. Did she keep the same number? Remember, Molly got a new phone before she met up with the Popo to do any of this. Nobody seems to care. Okay, nobody seems to care that Molly got a new phone. That Gary Jenkins got a new phone the day of the homicides. I'm sorry, the day on that Monday. Gary Jenkins, chief of police in WSU,
had a registered DoorDash account under the name Delilah. We know this because at Translucent, we were the ones who reverse engineered the DoorDash warrant ID and identified that name. The mystery surrounding Ethan's and Xana's whereabouts appears to have been clarified. Consistent with what Xana's father told her mother, that Xana was home eating pizza, we see a Domino's delivery vehicle arrive. Shortly afterward, a tall man wearing a hoodie is seen leaving Xana's residence and walking toward King Road, presumably heading to the Sigma Chi party. We think that looks like Ethan.
So this is how we've made sense of how Molly has the same phone as Steve's neighbor had.
Hold on a second, you guys. Let me explain this back up. Oh, bless us. Okay. Kara is confused a little bit. Okay.
And walking toward King Road, presumably heading to the Sigma Chi party. We think that looks like Ethan.
So this is how we've made sense of how Molly has the same phone as Steve's neighbor had. Xana was home alone, eating pizza, and was in the bedroom that previously belonged to Kaylee. Kaylee had moved out during the summer and into a bedroom on the upper floor. At approximately 1:56 a.m., screams are heard. Is it possible that two perpetrators went for Xana at that time, mistakenly believing she was Kaylee because they thought they were in Kaylee's former bedroom, and knew from the Twitch live stream Kaylee was on her way home? Afterward, they may have closed the door and stayed quietly in Xana's room, since now they heard others enter the house. We know that Kaylee and Maddie arrived roughly 2 minutes after the screams. According to this theory, the perpetrators remained in Xana's bedroom for about an hour and a half, waiting for the other occupants to go to sleep. To ensure the house was clear, they could have called an associate, Molly, to pick up a DoorDash order that they would place using Xana's phone. By the way, side note, we notice some creators keep saying there is no evidence that Xana's account was used to place the order. However,
there is.
That is incorrect. By reverse engineering the DoorDash Dasher ID, Xana's name is revealed. So Molly follows instructions and ensures she is the first Dasher to accept the order. She delivers the food to the house. And
remember, this was made way before all the stuff that I've just put out.
Rings the doorbell, but no one comes to retrieve it. The perpetrators are peering through the window watching Molly. Molly notices a female in the third floor bathroom window who appears to be trying to avoid being seen each time Molly looks up. She is unable to tell the perps that the coast is clear yet, as according to her police statements, Molly remains in the area for roughly 30 minutes. She is repeatedly checking to see if anyone responds.
Okay, there it is. Why does Molly say that she stays in the area for 30 minutes at first? Then they're saying that she was only truly in the area for 15. This goes back to what I am then saying is that it doesn't look like Molly's phone is traveling with the vehicle that left at 4:00 in the morning. If she's in the vehicle that came at 3:46 in the morning. Okay. That means that Molly would have still been in the area until 4:15. Potentially, fuck it, maybe even that 4:20 speeding away. Okay. Anyways, moral of the story here is that if they would have just done a thorough investigation, all of this has answers. All of it has answers. And it all begins with the interview of and this is why they weren't interviewed and put anywhere. The interview needs to happen at Jack in the Box. Molly lies and places her going back to get a new order because they thought that she forgot it and threw it away. That couldn't have been for the order that she picked up or accepted at like 4:02 on her phone. Okay. Also, where was Molly when she says she was at basically right by one of the gas stations up there at 4:02 when she clicked the button to accept to take on that Pullman dorm room order from Jack in the Box. And I'm over here like, dude, Jack in the Box, like, you're not able to order from them past 2:45. She's lying. This is all lies. And the guys are saying from Jack in the Box are like, it's weird that she placed the order and delivered it. Yeah, because Molly actually had to go back there and say what? Oh, I need to pick up this order. What, I didn't get it. What if she just argues with them and is like, the guys are like, no, we made that order. No, you didn't, because I never picked it up. And so then they would have to what? Like find the order, which is Molly would have had because she didn't close it out yet. Here, this is what they need. So she reorders and makes a new order. There was a formality to record what happened with Molly and Payne and that girl in that room. That was a formality. Because they already did their interviewing with her and her tough days with the feds, which we don't have. If I'm Steve Gonsalves, I want to get my hands on everything to do with Molly McMichael. And he was trying to do that back in the day. Because then Ann Taylor put in a FOIA request asking for everything, all emails to do with Steve Gonsalves and the Latah County Prosecutor's Office that has to do with Molly McMichael. And that's why Steve believes that there's a leak in the prosecutor's office that how the fuck does Ann Taylor know, okay, to ask for emails that I would have had or Shannon Gray would have had with the Latah County Prosecutor's Office as pertains to Molly. And I have to remind everybody is that I did a video. I did a video because I said that translucent, the best way you control yourself or that to think that there's not a channel that you're associated with is to go at yourself. And then nobody's going to think that that channel has anything to do with you. So I looked at the translucent channel back in the day and I was like, I know who's behind the translucent channel. Okay. I know one of the people, 1,000, because back in the day they made a mistake. We caught it. We have proof that we can show that we know one of the people that were running that channel back in the day, meaning in 2020. 3. This is the same channel that tried to have their channel name was not always translucent. Their channel name was Truth and Transparency. Let's talk about that, translucent. So, and they would go into chat and people would think it was me and people would make videos. That channel was never me. It had nothing to do with this channel. So, so this channel, if you're going to troll, like this channel was getting their hands on things that I thought was very interesting. So what I put out is I said, I think translucent is connected to the Gonsalves family. Because they got the video and put it out there of Molly getting arrested. Because it's the biggest troll channel of the Gonsalveses. Why do I talk? Who? I don't talk to this psycho. Who's this psycho? What do you mean I talk to them? I don't talk to this person. Yeah. So I'm trying to teach you guys, like, it's the same thing that Turtle Boy does to himself. Turtle Boy trolls himself he creates accounts and he goes at himself with with pictures of his kids and shit. And he's like, look at what these people are doing, blah, 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 blah. It's him. Okay. This to me is that same concept. Because all of this stuff goes at, I'm like, it's, if you ever go through this person's channel, it's like really fucking nasty at the Gonsalves family. But then this channel, big into AI, big into software programs, and boy, do they have a source. I know that they have a source because they're quick to get shit. Okay. How did they, and just ask this person, how did they find that Molly McMichael was arrested video, right? Well, guess who put that out actually first and didn't bring any attention to it? A body-worn camera channel who started this body-worn camera channel, started in 2023. And here, let's just go find it. And so this is like a distraction channel for me. If you go and you scroll. So anyways, the moral of what I'm trying to say is that I believe that the defense had somebody watching my channel, one of their researchers. Okay. And I put this out there. And if you go and look, the date of the video that I did, that I said that I think that Steve had translucent put that out there, whatever, however she got it, blah, blah, however she was tipped off to go find it, whatever, doesn't matter. I make that comment on my channel. What happens the next day? Ann Taylor's team is putting in discovery requests and public records. Yes, that's a fact. And so Steve was like, who's leaking this? Who's leaking this shit to Ann? And I'm like, I don't think actually anybody was leaking that stuff to Ann. I think that there was a researcher that was, trust me, I know that they were watching my shit. It's in the freaking FOIA requests. They were passing my videos around. And I think so. The public defender's office reached out to me after I did my Dave episode, wanting my source. So I mentioned that about this channel, and then I think that it's connected to the Gonsalveses somehow. And maybe the Gonsalveses don't even know with one of the people that they're talking to that this person's behind that channel, meaning the translucent channel. And I've talked about this one other time, and then I was just like, I don't fucking care. Like, I'm not going to sit here and explain it to everybody how my brain works and how I'm able to connect dots. And we pay attention to stuff when things are really, nah. So this channel, they put out, where is it? If you scroll back, this was
Hey there, true crime enthusiasts. Let's dive into a mind-bending theory that's got everyone talking. Picture this. Linda Lane's surveillance footage shows a vehicle passing around the Queen Road apartment complexes 4 times that night. The state claimed this was Brian's car, right? But hold up, plot twist incoming. Now we read from a recent cop doc drop that the 2 undercover cops on Banfield say they were patrolling this same route that night. So here's the kicker. Their vehicle is nowhere to be seen on the video. Could it be that what we're actually seeing is the police car, not Brian's?
Ever wonder what goes on in the dead of night? Let me take you on a ride along with Officer Testall. Picture this. It's pitch black and we're cruising the same loop around 500 Queen Road apartments again and again. But wait, there's a twist. At 2:55 a.m., Testall makes his final pass. He spots individuals outside of 1122, one of them being blonde. We think that is Maddie and Bethany, letting the dog out. According to his report, moments later.
And guess what? We know that it's not now because Maddie calls Bethany at 2:53. But think about this. At 2:53, the phone stopped doing anything, right? That's why when you go back and you look at all the stuff, I'm putting together all the stuff that people were trying to, everything gets weeded out. So we know that this can't be true is that why is Maddie, if she's with Bethany, calling her at 2:53? And then Bethany's over here in an interview saying she never mentions that until the police in Nevada bring it up in the night, what I just talked about last night. And then Bethany's like, oh, Maddie called me at 2:53. Did you answer it? No. And then here's Blaker really quick to just swoop in and start talking about, oh, that's with the dog stuff, blah, blah. Like, it's like, what? Basically, the moral of the story is if when Bethany would have woke up, the first person she would have called when you grabbed your phone, you saw that you had a missed call from Maddie, would have been Maddie. I would have called Mad T because I would have picked up my phone to go make a phone call and saw that Maddie called me and I missed the phone call. Okay, I'm going to call her and ask her, like, well, hey, what was that noise? You get it? I'm not going to bypass the fact that Maddie just called me. Let me just click on Dylan and call her. I wouldn't do that, would you? Just seems illogical unless there's a reason for it.
He's entering Banfield where he detains the 3 boys. The problem is, rewind a bit.
Yes.
At around 2:55 a.m., the Linda Lane footage doesn't show any vehicle making the loop. At 3:55 a.m., we see a vehicle, which they say is Brian. But what if the camera is 1 hour off?
The camera installed at Linda Lane is a Rolink brand. It uses a SIM card to record video and resets every 72 hours. We checked with customer support and the date and time doesn't automatically correct itself, being that the camera lacks Wi-Fi connectivity. Instead, a user is required to adjust the date and time via an app which they need to pair their phone via Bluetooth. Since the clocks went back the previous week, we're wondering if the time was still on the summer daylight savings. Since Molly, the DoorDasher, dropped off food several times that night to the Queen and King Road homes, could it be that the tan sedan with the male driver having red hair was in fact Officer Testall?
Of course it was, because originally this was all designed for Molly, not to say that she saw Brian. Okay. It was about him. It was like you're these people, because originally they were saying that the killer was going to be on foot. And so they needed to account for all of these cars originally. And so that's why Tisdall is like, yeah, we drove around. Okay. And so then Molly's over here. I see it clear as day. All right. And then they had to switch it up. Okay. Because if they're going after Jack Decor, he's on foot. So you need to have an answer for all these fucking cars, right? Yep. Maury immediately on 1113, they're scouring through the 1112 King Road camera. Okay. And what does Jacob Tisdall do on the 15th? Writes up a report and talks about the fact that he was making circles around. Well, guess what? Not realizing that I then I do a public records request back before there was ever anybody caught as a perpetrator in this case. And I got the identity body worn camera when they go, him and Rosendahl go over to the identity apartments and get that guy with the sign guy, the guy Hayden, who's got the long hair. Remember that video? Well, he lies about the time that he goes over to that bullshit to go do that. And I said, well, is it possible for how much time is there in between when this call gets over with and to get over there? And then what happens before it? Like, where were these guys? Like, so I wanted to track them. And before it, they had to stop at, like, I don't know, it was like around midnight. It was on Taylor. A guy and a girl drinking, walking. I don't know, or they weren't drinking and walking, but he was walking her home. And she couldn't really walk that well. Anyways, I was able to determine, as this video says, that they didn't circle around, because we also had, when Linda Lane came about, then we knew that there was no circling around before this. When you got this video here, you have them in the Whites' apartments, starting up from the Whites. Okay. And if you keep backing it up, you're going to see that there is no vehicle. So they could have never made that loop. Like, it's just, and that's why we were all messing around with, was the cameras moved? Like, what's going on here? And it's like, no, they just never thought that anybody would go through the lengths to, but Jacob Tisdall 1000% was trying to claim being the white vehicle that was making the loops. And I'm over here like, well, why don't they just claim it with one of the other officers that were working that night? Because I believe that there was 2 sets of 2 in 2 different vehicles like this. Because in the Banfield camp, they said, oh, what are you guys driving? What are those? Oh, they gave us hybrids. Like, they gave us hybrids. Like, how many? You just bought one in this? They only bought one of these? And the way that Rosendahl talks about it is that there was multiple ones that were bought. And so guess what Ann Taylor did? She went and got every single fleet that the Moscow Police Department owned, and asked for every person that was working or works in Moscow what their personal use vehicle is. Why do you think she was doing all that? Because of what I've been saying over here on this channel. You need to get to the bottom of all, who was working that night, what were they really doing, what were they assigned to do. And if Ann Taylor would have went as far as to go and get this federal grant shit, I would already have it, because they wouldn't need to, like, it would already be readily available. Remember when they first quoted us $2,300 to get our hands on this? We got them all the way down to, I think, $373. They want like $2,000 drop like that.
I see a white pickup here. Okay. Is that your ride?
Yeah, we were actually just already going. Okay.
Okay. I've got. I need to print off something for her real quick.
All right.
And
okay.
Okay. I've got.
Is that vehicle right there the white vehicle that's driving around that night in Moscow? There you go, Mark. There's a chance that vehicle could potentially be.
Is that your ride?
Yeah, we were actually just already going. Okay.
Okay. I've got. I need to print off something for her real quick.
All right.
And take me 2 seconds.
Okay.
So you guys can hang out. I just want to print you off a copy of the warrant, Molly.
Is she allowed to have a cigarette?
Absolutely. Yeah. Here's a copy of the search warrant, okay? So here's what's going to happen is we send the blood off to get it tested, okay? It is taking about 18 months to get the test results back.
Oh my God.
Ouch. Statute of limitations on DUI is 2 years. So you do the math.
Yeah.
There's a chance that we don't get the blood back before statute of limitations runs out. Okay?
Look at them just talking about how we're going to get you out of this, Molly. How we're going to get you out of this. Statute of limitations is going to run up. You're not going to get any trouble for this, okay? This is fucking crazy. But this is the video that came out when this was her getting 12/30/2023.
But that's what we have to wait on is the blood results.
Because she didn't, when she blew, there's nothing in her system that's, you have to do it this way because of whatever she's on, whatever they think that she's on.
When we get them back, depending on what's in your blood and the stuff like that, the prosecutor will probably request charges for DUI if there's controlled substances in your blood. Okay. They will send you information to your address on record with Department of Licensing. Okay. So just make sure that's up to date as you move or anything like that.
You know where I am because I'm the dasher, so.
You're a dasher, okay.
Well, no, I'm the dasher from the murder case.
I'm the dasher from the murder case. Oh my God, right? Right? Remember? And so now put this in your timeline though. Basically, Right there at the end of the year, 12/30/2023.
The one that they're keeping quiet and kind of
We're keeping her hiding, so.
Yeah, why are you?
from the murder case. You know where I am because I'm the dasher, so.
You're a dasher. Okay.
Well, no, I'm the dasher from the murder case. I'm the one that they're keeping quiet and kind of.
We're keeping her hiding, so.
Yeah, why are you?
We're keeping her in hiding. Everyone's keeping her quiet. She just says this on a body-worn camera.
Tell me that. You spilled the beans to me.
I know.
Your secret's safe with me, okay?
Thank you, 'cause, yeah, I
Thank
don't
you
need
for
any
being
more.
cooperative, and I'm so sorry.
I know.
Your secret's safe with me, okay?
Thank you, 'cause, yeah, I
Thank
don't
you
need
for
any
being
more.
cooperative, and I'm so sorry about the panic attack stuff. Like, I get it, okay? I'm sorry you went through it, and that wasn't my intention to make you suffer or anything. If you want to go find something. Justin Stringer.
Now, this is earlier in the night.
Sabres. And I hooked him for DUI, but then long story short, I ended up kicking him loose. But he's going to help us with some stuff.
So it doesn't sound like.
He's going to help us with some stuff. I ended up kicking him loose. Justin with the Sabres.
Like she's supposed to be letting him drive it.
He's slinging dope.
He's slinging dope. He's slinging dope.
Right.
Drive it.
He's slinging dope. He's right. He's my Facebook girl. He was going to sell me.
Right there. He's in my Facebook, right? He's my Facebook girl. Listen to this.
Right. He's my Facebook girl. He was going to sell me meth and fentanyl. So I'll let him think.
My guess is
he was going to sell me meth and fentanyl. He's this whole Facebook stuff, right? So then I hit up Chris Whitcomb and I say, hey, when you said that you were looking through these documents and you saw that Ethan blocked people, or was blocked rather, by these two girls, okay? What was it? Facebook? Was it Instagram? What was it? What was the social media site? Okay. Because the two names, I looked deep into the two names from the book, you know, I said, they don't exist anymore unless the names have changed in some capacity. Okay. But you have to go back into your file that you went into, right, to find that, and just get me the platform, motherfucker. Get me the platform. What do you think I have? Nothing. So it's like,
because she went to the store.
Yeah. So I'll let him think.
My guess.
My Facebook girl. He was going to sell me meth and fentanyl. So I'll let him think.
My guess is the dope's at home because she went to the store.
Yeah.
Just some ice cream and shit in the bag.
For some reason, he didn't want us to look in it, but I don't know. Maybe she has some fentanyl in there or something. So.
Okay. Oh.
Thanks so much.
Yeah. Hell yeah. I'm good at searching anything.
Yeah. So I'm done after this. So.
Oh boy. So Justin Stringer is their confidential informer, whom is also Molly's boss. She gets caught with stuff, but doesn't get charged because she needs to falsify fake information that she apparently saw Brian Koberger at 11:22. And they openly admit on the body cam that she needs to be kept a secret from the defense. Welcome to Idaho, guys.
Now, guess what happens when this video is released? Okay, you guys can connect the dates. So you go to this video and we'll get the actual date that she posted that video, which is CI Molly. Okay. If you go
Hey there, true crime enthusiasts. Let's dive into
and you go here, September 23rd, 2025. Now, hang tight. And everybody be like, well, that's after the plea deal. That's after the plea deal. Nope. Hang tight. We're going to go back one before this. Respectful response to Lana's live. Thank you. Oh.
Members of
I went back to Pennsylvania.
we used a lot of help us a ton in
From the Koberger family residence, 2022, that as the biological father of suspect.
Wait, that's not it. Hold on. Oh, wait, here. No, Lana, we weren't tipped off. See, did you delete a video? Wait, right here. This is it. No, Lana, we weren't tipped off. Oh, good.
DUI. So just DUI again.
510 stuff. How you doing?
Same stuff.
Okay, this is the one. Now look at this date. June 13th, 2025. When does Ann Taylor go and make that request to get everything to do about Molly? Yeah, after this date. And yet before the plea deal. And then she even did stuff after the plea deal. It was really, really bizarre. And whoa, you wouldn't believe what we just uncovered. Remember that court document showing the Dasher ID we talked about? We previously determined the identity to be Molly Marie McMichael. Well, we've been digging deeper and things are getting weird. We're now waiting on some public records to see if the car scene in the Linda Lane matches up with hers. But here's the kicker. We stumbled upon an arrest video from last year in Pullman. I can't even. Okay. Well, but where this actually came from is there was a Pullman body-worn camera channel. And they posted it. And they didn't make any noise about it. Any noise about it. No noise. And this is like the entire video.
Fast. Real fast.
Why would you think that?
Last time I got it perfect, so usually I don't get it right the second time.
I'm sorry, I don't know my teams. That's fine. The other way?
Voluntary field sobriety test.
I can do them, but I won't pass them.
Okay, why won't you pass them?
Because I have fibromyalgia, I have arthritis, I have a lot of issues with my body. It's very broken. I have nerve damage. I went through this with Jordan last time.
Okay. So what's your name?
Molly. My boy has my
Molly.
ID. I'm trying to call my boyfriend. It's his truck. Jimmy.
So here are your
Our friends.
Okay. So, this is your first time in trouble? Okay. It is definitely stressful.
Wait, this is her first time in trouble? No, it's not. Like, how is this not Giglio material? Or how is this like? Shirley says, y'all been played like a fiddle. Nice tan. BK managed to get well in jail. Dude, what the fuck, man? I want to see you interview Molly so badly. I want to buy Molly. You know, Molly will pay you for your rent for the month, man. We need to make sure that you're okay, Molly. Best friends with Bill Thompson. This date on here is well after the last one that we just showed you. But
I have seen this happen quite a bit. But like at the end of the day, you are going to go home and I took a pain pill while over my back. Okay. I've been on them for years and years. My parents.
okay, Molly, we just can't listen to that right now. This is when Molly talks about Brian again, like seeing him and shit, like wild shit. This is when Translucent tells me, no, Lana, we weren't tipped off.
All right, let's talk about how I figured out who DoorDash driver was. No, I didn't hack the app or get some tip off from law enforcement. It's way simpler than that.
Perfect.
Go to the DoorDash site, click on any profile from the reviews. Now go to the Idaho portal. Find the document that has the DoorDash information. Let's first start with Zana. Plug in her Dasher ID here and hit enter. On the right side, you have the Dasher ID. Pasting that in the URL gives a Dalila B.
We have now used another method, and we have discovered a Molly McMichael registered instead. We had a mix-up with method, and we...
Pasting that in the URL gives a Dalila B.
We have now used another method, and we have discovered a Molly McMichael registered instead. We had a mix-up with names, and it turns out there's an alias situation going on. Apparently the same ID is using two different names. Molly McMichael for dashing, and actually a Dalila Barrett for...
Della Barrett. Guess who has the last name Barrett?
For receiving.
I decided to put DoorDash to the test. So I hopped on their chat support and told them I wanted to change my name. I kept dropping hints about Dalila B, like I was trying to be subtle. The rep was totally professional at first, but guess what? They slipped up. They asked me, which name do you want to change? The Dalila one or the Molly name? Boom. I told them, hey, I'm Molly and I need to change my surname for taxes. They're like, sure, what's your current surname? And I'm all, well, funny story, I gave a fake name starting with M, and now...
She loves her fake names.
Now I can't remember what I put. They're totally confused, right? So they escalate me to second tier support. I'm thinking, no way this'll work. But then, boom, the agent goes, is the surname you put McMichael? We did some digging on our mystery person and stumbled upon something unexpected. Curiosity got the better of us, so we requested some official footage. But here's the kicker. We thought, why not check YouTube? And boom, there it was. Already uploaded by one of those geek body cam channels. Enter Lana, the green-eyed monster. She went on a...
Enter Lana, the green-eyed monster. I like my green eyes. So does everybody else. This is because Dude, this is such a great video. This is our love-hate relationship. She's like, no, girl, this is how we got, watch.
Full-blown rant calling us every name in the book.
Full-blown? Last time I heard somebody say full-blown gay. That person's full-blown bisexual. That person, happy Pride Month.
Why? Because she couldn't believe we actually used our brains. Shocking, I know. But wait.
No, that's not what I said.
Wait, there's more. The plot thickens when some internet detectives dig up the original upload. Suddenly, we're in the hot seat. Look, we're not here to steal anyone's thunder. Credit where credit's due. That other channel doesn't even know who Brian Koberger is. They simply...
How would you know that?
Shame people being arrested for DUIs. Let's talk about the real issue here. We are the best.
That is not possible because I went and looked at the body-worn camera video channel. And I believe that channel has it could be potentially, what's his name? Fixler, Idaho Statesman Fixler. And the video that was uploaded, it wasn't just in its raw entirety. Okay, that video that was uploaded, the Molly McMichael getting arrested, and saying that she's the dasher and shit, whatever. Or she's talking about that was the one that she says that she saw Brian. This person had cut, it wasn't just played in its entirety. Okay, this was somebody that actually took the time to physically go through the video. Okay, and if you're physically going through the video and you're making your own clips to put it together the way that you want, that means that you would have come across that. So I was like, this person had to have come across that, and they just didn't know how big it was. Highly doubt that.
Suddenly, we're in the hot seat. Look, it's way simpler than that. Go to the DoorDash site. Click on any profile from the reviews. Now go to the Idaho portal. Find the document that has the DoorDash information. Let's first start with Zana. Plug in her Dasher ID here and hit enter. On the right side, you have the Dasher ID. Pasting that in the URL gives a Dalila B.
We have now...
Why is Molly McMichael using a fake name?
Now used another method, and we have discovered a Molly McMichael registered.
So when I gave a tip about this, I said, if y'all think, I gave a tip to the defense team. I said, if y'all think that your DoorDash driver is just a DoorDash driver and is at the wrong place at the wrong time, then you guys are absolutely fucking dumb. That was my tip. This is a DoorDash driver that's not using her government name. That's not. This is a DoorDash driver who seems to be in every wherever there's a gunshot, Molly's there. People die, Molly's there. And this person is mixed up in, has either has had a drug problem her whole entire life. She's either buying or selling the shit. She has a group of friends that are bad fucking news bears. And there was a huge drug bust raid right across from the 76 gas station where Janelle Brum, her husband, lived. And they wanted some ridiculous amount of money for the dash and body cam of this. I may have to now go back and get all this shit. But it was, I wanted to see whose cars were there. I want to see the people that were there. Bill Thompson and Ashley Jennings are contacted for this drug bust raid, whatever you want to call it. And it was 9 to 12 hours of footage. It's a lot of time. They were having to write up search warrants and shit. So Molly, no doubt, is a CI. Molly's, that Justin dude, we just heard it with our own ears that he's slinging dope. They're talking about Facebook groups, it sounds like to me. He was my Facebook group or girl and trying to buy and sell, blah, blah, blah. Like all this shit. This is who was at the house when the murders were happening, according to Molly. According to her own statement, she's like, I can't believe that that's just my luck that this would be happening when I was there. What? Molly, we were just trying to figure out like what time you got there, why would it take you this long? And so then you hear all these problems surrounding it. And to say that there's nothing to see here by people in law enforcement is laughable to me. No, there is something to see here, and you have to weed it all the way out. Okay? Because yes, two things can be true. But let's talk about, if you truly talk about what the hell was going on. And yeah, it's like, yeah, Lana, these people, that's what they do in the area. They're all DoorDash drivers. They use multiple apps. They're just using the money to get their next fucking fix. Okay? Well, then show that to me. Show me that Molly then cashed out on her app money and that she then went and bought drugs from somebody. Show me her passed out. The reason that she's working 18 hours is because she's passing out in vehicles along the way because she's getting fucking high. And she's just, woo, like nodding off, doing whatever. But you have to run all this stuff down. But what it shows me is that you didn't run any of this stuff down. And it's why? Because we cannot look like Moscow and Pullman cannot take on people's kids in their communities. No parents are going to want to send their kids to college there. That's why. Money, motherfuckers. Money. And the way that the community sells it all for everybody to understand is that, hey, your little mom and pop shop that you have, all of us are affected here. And so no, CIs don't have fake names. What? Yeah, they do.
Instead, we had a mix-up with names, and it turns out there's an alias situation going on. Apparently the same ID is using two different names. Molly McMichael for dashing, and actually Adela LeBarrett for receiving.
I decided to put DoorDash to the test. So I hopped on their chat support and told them I wanted to change my name. I kept dropping hints about Dalai Labi, like I was trying to be subtle. The rep was totally professional.
Again, I love this hustle part. This is, I wish that you would have recorded yourself doing this. But if it's dealing with people in Washington, I mean, you can't. But if it's dealing with Dash support, you could probably do it.
Professional at first, but guess what? They slipped up. They asked me, which name do you want to change? The Delila one or the Molly name? Boom. I told them, hey, I'm Molly and I need to change my surname for taxes. They're like, yo, sure, what's your current surname? And I'm all, well, funny story, I gave a fake name starting with M.
Molly Mortensen. That's what she gave. I'm telling you. She gave Molly Mortensen. Okay.
And now I can't remember what I put. They're totally confused, right? So they escalate me to second tier support. I'm thinking, no way this will work. But then, boom, the agent goes, is the surname you put McMichael? We did some digging on our mystery person and stumbled upon something unexpected. Curiosity got the better of us, so we requested some official footage. But here's the kicker. We thought, why not check YouTube? And boom, there it was. Already uploaded by one of those Gee body cam channels. Enter Lana.
Yeah. All right, guys. Enter Lana, and Lana just saying, like, what the heck are you doing? You know? No. Was AG recently interrogated by the FBI? See description.
Earlier this month, Olivia flew to Idaho, hired a lawyer, and the next day drove from her parents' home to Lewiston to meet with the Idaho State Police.
Yeah, and I had dinner with your parents the other night when I was in Idaho, and they mentioned to me, oh, Olivia is going to meet with the prosecutor. And I was like, oh my gosh. And they were like, yeah, she's going by herself. I'm like, she's going by herself. Like, that's so intense. So I know you flew to Idaho.
Allie,
I mean, what was that like?
Black cat.
Yeah, so that was October 6th. And I love my parents, but I am an adult too. And it's difficult for me to kind of be a grieving sister in the room with them because I let their grief overshadow mine. Right? They're grieving parents. They lost a daughter. I hope to God I never know what that feels like. But sometimes it makes it difficult for me to find a place in the room. So it was important for me to be able to, kind of be able to dictate and to get answers that, I'm really looking for, not help my dad or help my mom or play this like weird median that I would often play in these prosecutor meetings. So I met with members of the prosecution team and a member of the Moscow Police Department who was an investigator, as well as the Idaho State Police, an investigator from the Idaho State Police.
Payne, Gilbertson, Jennings, Thompson.
And so you just went by yourself?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm shaking. I went by myself. I had my attorney there. She's a local Utah attorney and who was just kind of helping me with the documents as they're coming out to be able to make sure that we all get those. It was a really traumatizing meeting. But it was a necessary step for me to be able to.
She was like, I don't want to see this shit on the internet, so I want to see it for myself. I would have done the same fucking thing. I'm so happy that she did that. I would have said, fuck you, Bill. Okay. I'm not going to see this shit on the internet, so I'm coming down there and I want to see my sister. Because I refuse to be, doing whatever I'm doing with my kids, and then the next thing I know, I get hit with this on the internet. Y'all can get straight fucked. That's what I would have said. And so I think, I hope that that's how she said it to them. Black Cat and Jam, they bought, and Allie Tally and Esther, like 60 memberships. Esther, thank you so much. Allie Tally, 20. Esther, 5. Black Cat and Jam, 20. This is for your FOIA request, Lana, my firecracker. Thank you so much, Karen. Yeah, there's way over 500 people in here, so they were like, hit the thumbs up. or the thumbs down. I mean, if you're here to hate watch, that works too. Whatever makes your sphincter get plumpy. So we all remember this back in October. She went. And so here she just always is attacking. Like this channel is always attacking the Gonzaleses. And I'm just like, man, this is how you troll yourself, though. It's a good troll. And then it's in this guy.
1 Lincoln Edward 2980. Hello. My name's Officer Westman. Stop is being recorded. How come you weren't pulling over?
I was trying to find a safe spot.
So,
I knew there was a pullover up here. I just couldn't find
Okay, 6/19/2022. This is how you get started.
it.
I understand that rationale, but I'm going to give you another one too. So legally, you have to come to a stop immediately on the right side of the road.
Oh,
Reason
okay.
being, say I was going to an emergency call, and you insurance for your car.
I have my registration. I just haven't.
Yeah, just at 9:30.
Yeah. I was just on
Do they
my way here to pick up a dash, and yeah. So he just said take care of it
Sure.
tomorrow. You know.
That's a lot cheaper in Idaho.
Yeah.
So our ticket in Washington is $550.
Yeah.
It's real expensive. So I try not to write it when I don't have to.
Yeah.
So I'll take
That's why I
that
figured
one.
I'd show you everything. Cause yeah.
All right. Garfield Street, still a good address?
Yep.
All right, let me just check on your ID and I'll get you out of here.
Okay.
Garfield Street, still a good address? 9:30.
Yeah. I was just on
Do they
my way here to pick up a dash, and yeah. So
This says it's 6:11 in the morning. That actually might not be. It's actually, I don't even know if that's been changed.
he just said take care of it
Sure.
tomorrow. You know.
That's a lot cheaper in Idaho.
Yeah.
So our ticket in Washington is $550.
Yeah.
It's real expensive. So I try not to write it when I don't have to.
Yeah.
So I'll take
That's why I
that
figured I'd
one.
show you everything. Cause yeah.
All right. Garfield Street, still a good address?
Yep.
All right. Their phone number, website, mailing address is right here. Packet of papers to your address here. In Washington, it's the lowest crime in Washington. On the right side, there's 3 ways how to explain some of the crimes. Essentially what it says, in the next 15 days, they'll be mailing you a packet of papers to your address here. If they, if you don't get it within about 2 weeks, give the court a call. Their phone number, website, mailing address is right here. Because if they had signed you up in different states, there's different penalties, and that's kind of what we're
Look at our dog.
So I wasn't planning writing any tickets. I didn't write any tickets for the headline or anything like that, but I do have to do this one. So top suspended.
Yeah.
And so do that, take it in court, and Washington. So it means you have a court date. Criminal to drive a vehicle with a suspended registration. It'd be like driving with a suspended driver's registration, at least on your first offense.
Had said that it was frozen up.
Officer in Moscow talked to you about your vehicle registration.
Yeah.
What did he have to say about it?
I told him that I knew that it had said that it was frozen up. That I need to call and take care of it and get it all dealt with.
So every state has different laws. A lot of the laws are similar, but a lot of times the penalties can be different.
Okay.
In my understanding, in Idaho, it's not a criminal offense to drive with a suspended registration, at least on your first offense.
Okay.
Washington law is unfortunately different, and it's criminal to drive a vehicle with a suspended registration. It would be like driving with a suspended driver's license.
Okay.
So I did have to prepare a citation for driving a suspended vehicle. It's a misdemeanor in Washington, so it means you have a court date. Okay. So I'll explain it. I'd recommend just calling them, getting it taken care of, because it sounds like all you got to do is turn in your insurance card.
Yeah, that's
and
it.
then they'll unsuspend it.
Yeah.
So do that, take it in
That's
court,
why
and
the Moscow
maybe they'll
officer said
drop
I
it.
could just go, 'cause he said
Yeah.
that, yeah. I
And
just
so,
needed to do it.
unfortunately, because it's different states, there's different penalties, and that's kind of where we're at. So I wasn't planning on writing any tickets. I didn't write any tickets for the headline or anything like that, but I do have to do this one. So top information is yours as you're Washington, because our penalty is so much more. If you're pulled over again with a suspended registration, the next officer could impound your car.
Okay.
Okay.
I wish the first officer had told me this.
I wish that too, and that's the crappy thing of us living right on a border is.
Well, no,
is
I
a lot
got
of.
pulled over in Pullman. That's how I knew it was suspended in the first place. Then he never told me about any of this. He just said, fix it.
Wait, what? So you got pulled over in Pullman, then you got pulled over in Moscow, and then you got pulled back over in Pullman? Molly?
Well, no, I got pulled over in Pullman. That's how I knew it was suspended in the first place. Then he never told me about any of this. He just said, fix it this week when you get it. And so, when the cop pulled me over in Moscow tonight, I was like, yeah, I know it's suspended. And I am dealing with it this week. I've been waiting. They pulled me over in Pullman, and he didn't tell me anything about this.
Which one? The Pullman officer?
The Pullman officer.
How long ago was that? Do you remember?
It was just, I think it was Friday. Just when I was running. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I've been running all weekend or all week back and forth. Then, yeah.
It's still a newer thing because Idaho's only been doing this turn in your insurance stuff for just about a year and a half.
All right, we're going to have to do a FOIA request on her for the whole month of June. Fuck this. We'll do that. I just made a note of it. I can't deal with Molly. But this is what they do, though, for people like this. When people get in trouble like this, they're notorious for turning them into informants. I've had people lose their kids, they believe, because of it. And they've made it look like it was one car accidents that they just wrecked on, driving, or that they do like pit maneuvers. Idaho State Police is really notorious for that, I guess. These alleged pit maneuvers, and then they make it look like it's suicide. Again, so she was pulled over in Pullman Friday, a couple days before this, and then on this day she was pulled over twice. But why did the Pullman officer just let her go? Who was the Pullman officer? Anyways, okay. Let's see. Thank you so much, Translucent. Way to go. To go back to what I was saying last night to close out is this whole domestic disturbance and this whole with this 1112 cam. It was said not at first to investigators because they hear the screams and nobody talked about this whole domestic disturbance, okay? Then people came clean of it. People came clean with it, like that there was this domestic disturbance, domestic dispute, domestic whatever. And that's what the parents were told that were the screams on 1112 cam. And I'm like, what? But there is not a single interview of anybody saying that they had an incident, right? Who was interviewed? Where anybody is being interviewed with in any of the FOIAs that we have. Who's telling the cops that, hey, me and my boyfriend got into a fight? I kid you not. This is what the parents were told. This is what the kids then end up saying in interviews. When the cops say, listen, you're not going to get in trouble for anything, blah, blah, blah. So this is the 3:30 time frame. There's nothing here. You have to go to like And then look behind. There's the vehicle. So while Molly's there, there's a domestic dispute. Is it between Molly and the person that she's with in the car? I mean, you guys, it's crazy to me. It's just crazy to me. Right there. Look at how slow. Over here to the left. Remember how slow this vehicle is going. And you think that this vehicle is Brian and knows to go this slow because they're able to see what? There's no vehicle that vehicle, Molly's vehicle, would have to be pulled in to 1112. Like, you need to see, like, what are the angles that you could even see anything. This person's going so slow for what purpose? Look at that. Look at that. That is snail pace. There's Molly. Molly's 351. Molly's seen on the camera. Dylan saving a contact. That car speeding away, and Emily Lotz sending a Venmo. 351. All of those things are happening at the same time. Wait a second. She doesn't have her flashlight on. When she's walking there, there's nothing is lit up. She's not walking with her flashlight lit up. She said she was walking around with her flashlight on, trying to find like the. What are you doing, Molly? What the fuck are you doing standing in the middle of the goddamn road? See how you can see when she walks by, you can see get on the other car right there? So if we go all the way to her when she's walking down. Right there, she turns it on. Why does she have the light shining on the ground? And then look at this. So we know that Molly doesn't have the bag out in her right hand because her phone comes back in her right hand. And then right here within 2 minutes is going to be the 354. You know, are you having a hard time finding it? All staged. This is so fucking staged. Molly's walking around aimlessly. Look at, there's the car. Right there. The way that they sell this is that Brian Colbert is waiting back there, waiting for this person to leave. Dude, you can never think. What do you mean? You would never think that person was leaving. These two people are working in tandem. They know each other, right? They know each other. This person's either keeping watch above or, again, remember, it's the undercovers. Molly's doing what? They do controlled buying and they do controlled selling. And then who's that? That's the sedan. Okay, so what this looks like to me is that you remember back when the white car was back over here and they go and they turn off their lights and they park in that little area that's in that corner on Taylor right before you're about to get to Taylor on that turn. There's like that area you can pull up into. It seems like somebody got out of the vehicle Okay. And then this person on foot is walking, and clearly not to be able to be seen over here. So walking maybe up to, and then comes up like the steps. So that because they're clearly not able to be seen, but that this person then goes and gets into a vehicle and then leaves. And it's like, that's why I think it's interesting when you want to talk about what vehicles people owned that was their personal use vehicles, that they're coming out to do like this plain clothes. Hey, why don't you go park over here? Okay. We're going to put you, who's like, meet me out over there so that way you have your car. If someone's late, I don't know. They didn't park at the station. The car that leaves at 3:50 right here. That's the vehicle that they say Molly said was a sedan. And then Payne's like, nope, that was an SUV. And then here this car is coming back. And now this is when they say, so think about this. I'm having trouble finding the place. That's the 354. During this time frame before, are you having trouble finding the place? And then right here, they're saying that Molly is going to pull into the driveway here eventually, and that vehicle that we just saw pulls up behind Molly, and Molly just doesn't know it. What? Because you guys can see the window, you can see the movement. See that? Look at the windows reflection. There you go in the second window. And now the third window. Verse, you don't think what would be Occam's razor here? Occam's razor is that this vehicle and Molly McMichael are talking. And that's what Occam's razor says to me. No, it's SV1 that pulls behind Molly. I'm saying that's what the police are saying. That's what Payne's saying. Payne's saying that vehicle that just came in right there pulls behind Molly. But what I'm trying to say is I want you to throw away whatever they're trying to say. Oh, not this car. You're saying the 358 one? I'm saying that Occam's razor, though, for all these cars, it does not matter. Molly's there. We just believe Molly's story. No, we throw it out. Okay. What Occam's razor to me is 356, this vehicle right here. Molly's back there, this vehicle's there. And then wait a second. This is what they were trying to test to see how quickly they could be vehicle that gets on camera over here. So 358 and 37 seconds, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42. See back there? See? What's that noise right there? See, look at that car going. Look at that car just. That vehicle brought, it's almost like you have to start asking yourself the question of did that vehicle bring the food to Molly that she didn't get? But then Molly was the one that made it. I mean, this shit's wild. This shit's wild. But if you don't think that these cars were communicating with each other, they just are. And then here's Molly. Still doesn't understand life yet. Pretty much at 4. All of them had the cameras. All these cameras, all of them had them. Going back and forth, back and forth. What is that? All right, here we go. Again, very slow. You guys remember this originally? Look at how they speed this up when the car turns. Because I took this off of translucent. 404 and 59 seconds, and watch this. Unbelievable. Unbelievable, man. Mark, does that car have fog lights? Does that car have fog lights? I think that's the best view. I didn't say it was reversed. I'm saying, does it have fog lights? I can see, I think when you slow it down, you can see. And now I think we understand the reason for the speed up of the video. The reason they sped it up like that. I know, right? But I think I understand why they did this is why you would speed it up like that. You would speed it up like that in the original when they made it because you would want to hide the fact that it does have fog lights. Bethany calls Dylan. Did you hear that? What is that? It sounds like a dog barking, Bethany. No, I didn't hear that. $421. There's no way that is Murphy's bark, man. No fucking way. All right, guys, on that note, we are out over here. That is not Murphy's bark. Ugh. That does not sound like a golden doodle to me. What is up? What is up? What is up? Again, guys, thank you so much. Thank you to all of our members, subscribers, lurkers, members, lurkers, moderators. Fucking nuts, man. I believe, and I've always said that I believe that dog bark is no doubt coming from the Moyer's house. And that's why Jack D's house is hearing it like how they're hearing it. It's a big dog, man. And, you know, whoo. Again, guys, thank you so much. We'll see you guys on the next one. Peace. Peace. Oh, Shanna Gardner case. I'm putting out the witness list. Join me. I'm going to have a little bit of lunch and I'll start that and fire that up at 2. So give me 20 minutes. Thank you. Bye-bye.